This is definitely enough to get a court case going, and whether I add further charges or not down the road depends on the circumstances of the other cases.
That's the lead detective sergeant in the Bruce McArthur investigation, fielding questions from reporters this week about the court case, which is currently underway. We're outside of College Park, where McArthur has already appeared 7 times since his first charges back in January. And many of you, our City News viewers, have been sending in questions asking what's next for McArthur, what's next for the case. Well, today we spoke with multiple lawyers who broke down the inner workings of what could be the lead up to one of the largest murder trials in Canadian history. What would you say to those at home who are like, man, there's been a lot of hearings. When does this thing get to trial? Let's get on with it already.
Well, it's not like television. Law and Order on television is 52 minutes long. This is not real life. Court takes some time. The defense lawyers have to know what the case is. They have to talk to the Crown attorneys. There has to be negotiations.
The court process can be convoluted. Viewer Kevin Young reached out to one of our producers, Espe Curry, with this message. Can you ask the powers to be on City News? Lawyer go through court procedures of the Bruce McArthur court appearances. Many people don't understand why there's so many court hearings and what's the next court procedures.
What you want to know is why all the appearances. The appearances are for getting disclosure. This is the beginning of the process. As I'm sure you're well aware and your viewers are well aware, more cases are coming forward, so all of a sudden we get back to the bail court again and we start at ground zero. So any lawyer is going to want to find out what is the case they have to meet. There's going to be a lot of pretrial discussions between the Crown and the defense. Eventually, months and months and months, hopefully not too many, this will set itself down for a preliminary inquiry and then a trial.
If it did get to trial, when you say sometime down the road?
Realistically, they're going to have to do a preliminary hearing if they choose to do that within, I would say, within the year. However, the Attorney General in a case like this may well consider that he's going to prefer an indictment and go directly to trial and bypass the preliminary hearing altogether. On Facebook, Catherine Baxter posed an important question for McArthur and his defense. How does this long investigation affect Bruce's rights to a speedy trial? In 2016, the Supreme Court set a new rule that any Superior Court cases has to be completed 30 months from the time the first charge is laid, though the McArthur file might end up as an exception to that rule. Does Mr. McArthur have a right to get to trial in a reasonable amount of time, or can police continue to build their case against him? He does have a right under the Charter to get to trial within 30 months in the normal course of events. We all do. It's not just for Mr. McArthur, but it's for the public as well, and that's 30 months from the laying of the first charge.
Defense lawyer John Struthers adds that if this does go to trial and more evidence is uncovered, more charges are laid, those would have to be seen and heard in a second separate trial. Bruce McArthur's next court date is right here at College Park on April 25th.